And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. Temperatures outside are starting to warm up. Close to 70 degrees here in the FM area, even warmer out to our west where there's been a little more sunshine. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. Bridgette, how's your day going there so far?
We've had just about a quarter inch of rain here. Now, in some areas last night, there's some new lakefront property. You get north of Lakota. They were seeing 2.5 inches of rain and more. Hail in Belcourt yesterday to the point that they actually needed snow shovels to clean off sidewalks. And we're still seeing some areas that are impacted just by some flash flooding in low-lying areas as that rainfall is moving off.
Right. And if you want to know how much rain your particular area got, we've got an article up on our webpage, WDAYradionow.com. And tell you what, I mean, just east of the river here, areas of Clay County picked up inch and a quarter of rain, while Moorhead got nothing. So, these thunderstorms, when they kind of move over the same areas, they can drop some brief heavy rain, while the areas 10 miles down the road don't see a drop. So what do we have in store for this later today and into the upcoming evening? Well, we've got a cold front out to the west, and that'll be marching eastward. And with the sunshine that we're getting now, that's going to destabilize the atmosphere even more, and we're looking at thunderstorms developing out to the west of the valley, probably around 5-6 o'clock, and then moving east towards the FM area and arriving in the valley probably about anywhere between 7 and 9 o'clock. And some of those storms are expected to be severe, with the main threat being large hail initially, and then transitioning into a damaging wind event possibly as it moves into lakes country. We could be seeing hail between 1 and 2 inches in diameter with these storms, favoring areas along and south of 94. Now, areas of, let's say, northeastern South Dakota and a far southeastern North Dakota, isolated tornadoes can't be ruled out as well, but it's favoring more of a hail event out of this, but something we'll be keeping an eye on. And again, the timing on this, anywhere between about 6 and 10 o'clock tonight. After midnight, all this activity moves east. The rest of the night should be quiet under partly cloudy skies. And then quiet day tomorrow. We'll start off with partly cloudy skies and could see an isolated evening shower or thunder shower along and south of 94, with temps tomorrow in the low 80s, and then upper 70s to near 80 on Friday, with an isolated evening shower possible, but again, not looking for much. And then as we head into the weekend, it does turn hot. Mid-80s on Saturday, windy and hot on Sunday, with highs around 90. In fact, I see a lot of 80s and 90s as we head into next week. So summer heat is definitely going to return. But please be weather aware between about 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock tonight as those storms start to develop and push into the area. And again, like these storms, some of them that we had yesterday, there could be areas that receive some heavy rainfall from this, while areas 10 miles down the road really don't see much. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully we don't have a repeat of the hail event that they had up north of the FM area where we have to get snow shovels out. Don't want to see that happen.
Yeah, that was at the Belcourt area, and saw lots of pictures of those with, well, more than enough hail, that's for sure. And I think with so much crop that we actually have up now, people are concerned about that. How's my wheat going to fare through it? As a grain crop, or as a grass, wheat does pretty well, even through most hail, until we get to the point where we're headed out and it shells out the kernels. Right now, we have such little crop. A lot of things are probably going to go pretty well overall. So glad to see it. Maybe we could have a slow warm up when we go back to the warmer temperatures. Certainly a chance for things to continue to use the moisture that's out there and not just dry out so very quickly. So that will be helpful to many of us as well. Want to remind folks that Steffes Group has a great big live auction next week. And it's not often we have live auctions going on. The Sealy Farms Retirement Auction is in Regan, North Dakota. That is a week from today, Wednesday. Nope, 2 weeks from today, excuse me, June 17th. And great lineup, late model John Deere equipment, hopper bins, trucks, trailers, probably some pre-def equipment on there if that's what you're looking for. If you want to see exactly what's on the sale, go to steffesgroup.com and look for the exact location. You're going to need directions to get to this, also the equipment details. That's the Sealy Farms Retirement live on-site auction on Wednesday, June 17th, starting at 9 a.m. Very glad that they're going to be doing that. When we talk about late model equipment, one thing comes to mind is some of those very classic tractors like the 4020, brought out many of them in the mid 60s. Just so happens that they are the focal point of a family story that's now listed on tellingthestoryproject.org. This is a reinforcement about farm safety. That 1965 4020 plays a role because back in 2009, a 14-year-old by the name of Taylor Vanderweel was hauling chopped hay at his Sheboygan County, Wisconsin family home. Unfortunately, he encountered an incline and he rolled that tractor, and it did not have the ROPS, the rollover protection on it. And when that happened, unfortunately, Taylor was killed. Older tractors could have more safety features, and they can be added on and established aftermarket. We want to encourage folks to remember that farm safety should be taken care of year-round. If you are using some of that older equipment, vintage if you might say, and you're doing more with it where you're maybe on hillsides, inclines, etc., make sure to think about that ROPS protection, because you have some young folks who are using it who are unfamiliar with how to be more careful with that equipment at the time. And retrofitting an older tractor can cost you somewhere around $2,000. That can be a significant cost increase, but it's so much cheaper than if you lose someone in the meantime. Go to the tellingthestoryproject.org. I put a link on our Facebook page for Weather and Ag in Focus, so you could see some of the other stories that are on there, and they really highlight farm safety, not just with farm equipment, but also with livestock. In fact, there's a story on there by one of the Knock brothers down in South Dakota, and he talks about working cattle and stood up at the wrong time when the squeeze chute was being released. His head got caught in the mechanisms, caused a massive head injury for him. Those are the types of stories that happen because it's a routine deal. Everybody's just kind of doing the same thing over and over, and you get caught up in it, and you might forget to take that time to be safe with whatever that might be going on the farm. So again, if you want to take a look at that, it is the project. It's the shoot, I set my sheet down and I didn't see it. Tellingthestoryproject.org. You're going to want to see all of those farm families that are listed on there as well. So worth your time. Just a report here from one of our listeners. Chad made mention that his wheat crop looks very nice so far. They're in the Buxton Reynolds area. They have unifoliate beans. That would be their stage of the beans, their size. 3 to 4 leaf corn and 4 to 6 leaf sugar beets. Things are coming along quite nicely for them in that region. They probably picked up a fair amount of weather last night, some extra rainfall. And if you were one of those who did, we'd love to hear how much rainfall you got. You can call us on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000. Let us know what your rain totals were, especially if you have one of our Darter Plastic WDAY radio rain gauges. Then, additionally, our live stream is brought to us today by Lighthouse Commodities. You can follow us on Acres TV, YouTube, as well as Facebook. Speaking of Darter Plastics, it's Wednesday Weather Trivia today, Dean.
Yeah, and we'll have that on our last segment of the show, trying to give away one of our Darter Plastic bait-up cups. But we've got Jim real quick on line one. He's got a question. Jim, what's your question for us?
Oh, I thought you guys were talking politics. Maybe I had the wrong setup here, sir. All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
No problem, Jim.
I think he meant to call the flag.
He might have. Yep, he might have meant to call one of the other shows that we have through the Flag Family Media, because they are doing politics over on 1100 a.m.
Yeah.
Dean and I get to stay away from that.
Yeah.
Although next Tuesday, June 9th, if you haven't done your early voting, you can get out. Start that right now, and then remember that your final day to vote for primaries is next week, Tuesday, June 9th.
Yes, and when we come back, we are going to have Becky Kern. She's a UND grad, and she's also a meteorologist for the National Weather Service. We're going to dive into what it's like to work for the National Weather Service, and a lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes that the public doesn't see when forecasts are put together, watches, warnings, all that stuff. So we'll have Becky when we come back. If you have any questions for us along the way, 701-293-9000. Again, that's 701-293-9000. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 121 in the afternoon. Temperatures warming up now into the 70s. And like we said, a good chance for severe weather after 6, 7 o'clock tonight if you have any evening plans out there. Our special guest today comes to us. She's a UND grad. I almost said NDSU. Sorry, Becky.
It's okay.
Becky's a UND grad, and she works for the National Weather Service down in Omaha. She's been down there for a number of years. I used to work in Omaha, and it was always a pleasure to work with Becky and pick her brain about a few things. So welcome to our show, Becky.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So
I do have to say I am retired now.
You are recently retired. You're too young to be retired.
Am.
Come on.
I hear that a lot, but I don't feel that young. But yeah, I was part of the lucky group that got to bail. Loved my job, but when the retirement's handed to you on a platter, I ran.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, when the timing is right, don't ignore that kind of thing, Becky. I'm right there with
My advice to
how I retired.
anybody. Yes.
Good deal.
Good deal.
Well, Becky, I mean, people see warnings come from the National Weather Service and advisories and whatnot. So tell us a little bit about what it's like behind the scenes to work for the National Weather Service, because a lot of people don't know there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, from launching weather balloons to just a variety of things that the general public doesn't know about. It kind of fills us in on what it's like to work behind the scenes at the National Weather Service.
Yeah, absolutely. I started my career at the Grand Forks office that covered eastern North Dakota and northwest Minnesota. And then after I graduated from UND, I went to work for in Omaha. I've been here 26 years now. So I have a lot of experience, and we're all the same. There's 122 Weather Service offices across the country. We're all the same staffing profile, everything. What our main priority is, if you look at our hierarchy of priority listing, is warnings, watches, advisories. So when severe weather is about to occur, which like today, you guys are under the gun for, it's all hands on deck. And what I mean by that is, there's a staff of probably 13 meteorologists. Each office varies a little bit, but each office will have all hands on deck if there's severe weather coming. The main focus is severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, flash flood warnings. And then from there, there's a variety of things going on, whether it be aviation forecasting, the daily forecast. A routine product is days 1 through 7 that you see on your devices. Those are usually coming from the Weather Service. And so when a watch comes out, like I would assume, easy for me to say, but I would assume at some point today, some of your listeners are going to be in a watch. And what happens there is the Storm Prediction Center down in Norman, Oklahoma, they have all authority over severe thunderstorm watches and tornado watches. And they're working for the entire country, and they will coordinate with each office, all 122, whoever's in that area that's going to be seeing activity. And so we'll have a big conference call on the phone, old school phone, or sometimes it can be a video call nowadays. But so we'll hash it out. We'll talk about what the environment looks like, what conditions we're expecting. Do we want to go tornado watch, or do we want to go severe thunderstorm watch? What counties are in or out is really left up to each individual office. And so, you might have where it looks like the river is going to be the dividing line of, where storms might be pre-midnight, or so, just for example. But you don't typically want to split up a metro area in a watch. So you would want to include Fargo-Moorhead or Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, if that makes sense. So you don't technically want to always split up a metro area, but really that is left up to each individual office. And so the watch comes out. Now, hopefully there's a little bit of time and the warning process begins. And what will typically happen is a couple forecasters will take a sector. So, at any given time, there might be 5 different supercells in your area. And as a warning forecaster, it's you that is issuing the warnings. It's not a computer. It's not machine done yet.
Right.
It is a human making that call. So we're in chat rooms with folks like you and all the media partners, emergency managers. Everybody's watching the sky. A lot of people are watching the radar, but it is the Weather Service's final call on which product, if you're going to go to warn on it, first of all, is it going to be a severe thunderstorm or tornado warning? And so that is all done by a human. And once that warning's out, I say the pressure's off. it's that sitting in the hot seat. Do I or don't I? And who do I include? And yeah, it takes a lot of skill. We graduate college and we don't automatically know how to sit down and issue warnings. So we go to extensive schooling in addition to what we just went through at college to be able to work the radar, we call it.
Okay.
So yeah,
we just got I got an email from one of our listeners saying, how do you determine when to issue a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning, and if a tornado warning is issued, does it have to be visually confirmed before the warning is issued?
These are great questions. I love this. Okay, so how do I decide whether to issue a warning? My training. It's the same if you go to the doctor and the radiologist is reading your results. Your training tells you what to do. And through experience, we've seen these situations before, and maybe know, hey, this environment is very conducive to spin. And I see another storm coming in here. I think they're going to merge and we're going to get a quick spin up. You want to get at least a 10-minute heads up on a tornado. That's our goal. More is better, but there can be too much warning time, lead time. And, people are like, oh, I can finish that load of laundry. All right. I can get one more row done. There's a kind of a sweet spot as to how much warning time. But as soon as we see something, our motto is we see something, we say something. I want to let all y'all know what's going on. So I can type that into a chat room where you guys will see it. All the media, emergency managers, hospitals, school superintendents, they can all see that information. So it's an inside view as to what we're thinking. Now, what the public will see is that warning decision being eventually made. Is it an environment now going from severe thunderstorm to tornado? Is the environment capable of producing a tornado? That's one factor. And so we're weighing these factors. It does not have to be visually confirmed for me to issue a tornado warning or any of our forecasters to issue a tornado warning. We have debris signatures that we can see on the radar that would tell us that something's been hit and the debris is being lofted, and we can see that being picked up by the radar if the storm is close enough to the radar. But in the very far out reaches of the radar coverage area, if I don't have eyes on a storm and it looks like it's spinning, we're going to err in the side of caution. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a tornado warning. I'm not messing around with those.
And it's always good to have. I mean, there's so many storm chasers out there right now, and they have contact with the National Weather Service too if they spot something. So that always helps to have eyes out there. Now, Becky, another question: has or will AI take over basically what we're doing right now, issuing the warnings? Will AI eventually, or is AI helping out with that right now?
I wish I had the crystal ball for that, amongst many other things. I will say that I do know the AI is machine learning. So when the models are becoming AI, and what I mean by that is, so the machine learning can say, hey, I've seen this before. Mm-hmm. This is what happens next. There is advancement in the warning process going on right now within the National Weather Service. Threats in motion. So it essentially follows the storm, the machine does versus a human. But where the human really comes into play is communicating this information to the public. So what currently happens behind the scenes might change a little bit through the next 5 years or so, but the communicating of it is still going to be you and me sending that information out, telling people what's going on,
Right.
taking all the information in from all these storm chasers, spotters. It gets to be a lot of information. It's almost overload at times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a person can only do so much. So my point of that is AI can help with some of that too.
Right.
So it's not all bad.
Okay.
But,
Okay. Well, Becky,
yeah, it's changing.
yeah, no, we're at the bottom of the hour. We have to take a break here. But
Okay.
when we come back, want to touch on weather balloons. They're a very important part of forecasting, and there's going to be cuts in the National Weather Service. How is that going to affect forecasting, not only for us, but for our ag community as well? So we'll touch on those subjects when we come back. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. 1:37 in the afternoon. Temperatures outside already in the low 70s. And again, if you're just joining us, a good chance for severe weather tonight, anywhere between 6 and 10 o'clock. So be weather aware if you're out and about. And we've got Terry on line one. Terry's got a question for Becky. Go ahead, Terry.
Enjoy the topic today. And the question is that I listen to NOAA, and I'll sometimes set the alarm, which I'll probably have on tonight. And I'm wondering, what's the correlation between that and the National Weather Service? Is it
Great
the same
question.
thing, or does they get the information from you?
Yep, that is an excellent question. So that information is coming directly from the National Weather Service. So as soon as I hit send on a warning, that information gets coded, goes right to the weather radio transmitters, and is sending the alarms, the crazy noises that set off the alarm, and then the warning is being read. So that is directly coming from the National Weather Service. It is instant as soon as the warning is issued. And so tonight is an excellent example of when to have those radios on, have your backup batteries in them. Comes directly from the Weather Service office. And I don't know how many transmitters the Grand Forks office has, but like most offices have anywhere from 7 to 12 transmitter towers that cover their area. So if you're
I'm
one of the
on channel 4 here.
Okay, yep. So, they cover much of the area. Not everyone can get coverage. Some low spots or campgrounds, in a river valley, might not have as great of reception, but in the Red River Valley, people are pretty well covered under those weather radio transmitters. I will say though, that you bring up a good point, is that it's a really good idea to have several ways to receive that warning information. One of them being NOAA weather radio, but it is a piece of equipment, and that equipment can go down. So to have your backups like your TV, social media, perhaps sirens if you're in an area where sirens are available. Word of mouth is also a good one. Call your neighbors, have your neighbors calling you, everyone checking on each other. So it's really good to have multiple ways to receive those warnings.
Well, I know when there's storms that come in, I'll switch to WDAY, and if it's something that's kind of bad, Dean will walk us through it.
Thanks, Terry.
Yes, he will. That's outstanding. Love it.
Hey! There's been many a nights I've been up and I'm just laying there with you on there, and I'm just okay. Things are good. Goodbye, Dean. And then I go to sleep.
All right. Hey, Terry, thanks so much. Appreciate the phone call.
Thank you.
All right. And all right. Well, Becky, so now let's talk about weather balloons. That's a lot of things people don't realize, that weather balloons are launched by the National Weather Service. Not every office, but there's many offices across the United States. Explain what goes into launching a weather balloon, and why is that so important on predicting the weather?
Yes. So a great question. Here in the Omaha office, we send up a balloon twice a day, every day. Your closest will be to the west is in Bismarck, and twice a day again there as well. The only times we won't put up a balloon is if our personal safety is being threatened, and that's by lightning. A blizzard, we go out there. Usually it's about 4 or 5 in the morning, and then 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Sometimes on a severe weather day, we will launch a special one in the afternoon. So what the data is collecting. So the reason we send up a balloon is we attach an instrument to it called a radio sonde. You may have seen during the hurricane hunters, they fly the big aircraft into the hurricane, and they're dropping this instrument from the aircraft through the hurricane. What we do here in the States is we launch a weather balloon. It goes up, it's filled with either hydrogen or helium, and it ascends to about 100,000 feet. So if you think about an aircraft that cruising altitude, an airliner around 35,000 feet, these balloons go all the way up to about 100,000 feet before they pop, and then they come back to the ground. There's a parachute attached to them, and then that slows down the instruments. Just a tiny little piece of styrofoam with some little equipment in it and a GPS. So what we're doing is we are sampling the atmosphere as it goes as this little instrument gets sent upwards, and we're taking temperature, humidity, the pressure, wind speed, and direction are determined from where the GPS signal is at versus the station we launched it from. And all that is important to determine how much instability is in the atmosphere, how much wind shear is in the atmosphere. So we can tell, is the environment conducive for severe thunderstorms capable of large hail? Is it going to be damaging wind? Maybe it has a lot of spin in the atmosphere, and so we're looking at a tornado setup. So all of these things are this time of year, this convective season we call it. And in the winter, same thing, but we're looking for the temperatures have more of a degree of importance to us. As far as the freezing line, are we going to get freezing drizzle, freezing rain, and so forth, heavy snow? Maybe convective snow where you have thunder snow and get really heavy snowfall rates. So it is an important step in the forecast process. So we are taking data that is essentially currently happening, that is getting input into the models. And the forecast models is how we determine the future of where these, the future of the weather, or forecasting the weather per se. So it's a starting point. To fill in the gaps, because we only do it twice a day, we have satellite imagery. We have, you have end-on stations. You have the airports that are giving surface information, but it's really important to get that boundary layer, we call it, from the surface of the Earth up through the atmosphere.
And Becky, there's supposed to be cuts in the National Weather Service coming up, or there already has, and that's, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that does include some of these sites that launch our weather balloons. If that is the case, how is this going to affect forecasting and the computer and the computer model accuracy as well?
Right. So good question. The right when I was retiring in 25, April of 25 is when these cuts were all coming. And in fact, we did drop down to one launch a day at some of the sites, not all of them, just due to staffing issues. We were so short staffed. Now, as far as I know, again, I'm retired. As far as I know, they're back to 2 balloon launches a day, thanks to some congressmen getting word, and someone like me that was very vocal about how horrible this was for the Weather Service and the data, and resulting in the forecasts. Unfortunately, what happens in the weather world is that a tragedy happens and then things change. So if you remember last summer on July 3rd or the night of the 4th, I believe it was, down in Texas, they had these horrible, horrible floods down in Kern County. And it was at a Bible camp, a girls' Christian camp, I believe, and several fatalities. It was an awful disaster. And like a lot of things, out of disaster comes some progress in the weather forecasting world. And so that prompted a lot of leadership to put money back in the piggy bank of the Weather Service so that the mission critical, pieces of the pie would be served.
Good. Yeah, because that's
yep.
a lot. That's
so we're back.
Yeah, that's the last thing we need is a cutback in technology and information. That's for sure. So Becky, any last thoughts you have that you want to add about anything that people should really pay attention to?
Just keep your eyes open. That you guys are smart. It's a good area, and folks that are meteorologists, they're like you and me, right? They're people of your community. We're not some big black box in a little room. We're part pieces of your community as well, with family all around you. So pay attention to warnings. We're not just doing it because we can.
Yeah, and always have, like you said, a way to receive the information, whether it's a weather radio, always have backup batteries, some way to receive information when warnings hit. I tell people that all the time. Have 2 weather radios if you can, in case one goes out. Always have backup. So great advice.
Good advice.
All right, before you leave, I got to ask you, is it go Hawks or go Big Red now?
Ooh, yeah. So They're two different divisions, right? So
Okay,
go team.
you're playing the safe bet. I see. All right. Well, Becky, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate
Thanks
it,
for having me.
no doubt. And if anybody, if you have any questions for Becky and you missed out, just send them to me, weather@flagfamily.com, and I can forward those on to Becky. Becky, have yourself a great week.
Thank you. You too.
All right. When we come back. Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:53 in the afternoon, and it's time for our Wednesday weather trivia. Brought to you by Darter Plastics. Here's your chance to win one of those Darter Plastic bait-up cups. So if you're an avid fisherman, then this would be one great little addition you could add to your tackle box. And today's weather trivia question is, what do the rings inside of a hailstone signify? If you
How big are the rings on Saturn?
That's one.
I was trying to figure out a way to make this about Saturn.
Right?
I got it.
If you cut open a hailstone, there's rings inside, kind of like the rings on a tree. So what do those rings inside of a hailstone signify? 701-293-9000. I can hear the Google search going already. Help us out, AI.
The rings mean the flavor, right?
It does, yes.
I thought it had to do with how many different chemtrails it passed through before it landed on Earth.
See, she is a believer, Addison. I knew it.
Oh, no, she's not.
I knew.
I think you all heard
There
me
was a
roll
little
my
bit of
eyes.
sarcasm.
You better
there.
start answering
Yeah,
calls
there's like
before you
they
get
were-
in trouble.
I
Dean.
know. We've got a caller on line one. Caller, what's your name? And then what's your guess? Hello, caller. Go
Hello?
ahead.
Hello.
Yes. What's your name and what's your guess?
My name is Tim, and it's how many times it's fallen and re-risen.
Good enough. Yeah, it's each ring signifies how many times it's been up and down in that parent thunderstorm. So if there's 6 rings inside of it, that hailstone has been up and down inside of that storm 6 times, which usually the more rings you get, the stronger that thunderstorm is. So a good answer, and we're going to put you on hold, and Addison is going to get your information, and congratulations.
Awesome. Thanks.
You bet. Yeah, so it's...
So wait, how many times up and down in the storm? Essentially, that hailstone just did sit-ups.
Pretty much. Yeah, it had its exercise. But yeah, so obviously the more rings inside of a hailstone, typically the larger that stone is, signifying that's how many trips it's taking from up and down inside of that thunderstorm. So it's pretty incredible how it works. But yeah, good answer. Good answer.
Well, for those who have been getting rain and thunderstorms, especially some of those areas that got heavy amounts in the last 24 hours, make sure you have a conversation with Landmark Companies, your local leader in farm drainage. Blake Sunday would be happy to visit with you. You can visit landmarkteams.com. Talk about the early order discounts because they are proven drainage with proven results. And while you're doing that, talk to the folks over at Tech Support Farm. Chris Sherman will be glad to help you out as we see an increase in cyber crime, hacking, real estate fraud, and so much more. You don't want to be just using an MSNBC or a Yahoo email account. Talk to Chris. He can set you up with something better. He can talk to you about making sure that your email accounts are secure, that you're using VPNs in the right way. And he has access to Starlink units. So if you've been thinking about better accessibility and connectivity, you might want to talk to Chris. Again, that's techsupport.farm. Butler Machinery. Oh, go ahead, Dean.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. We'll do a recap of the weather right before we head out, though.
Oh, Butler Machinery is doing a really nice job of expanding their business. Normally, they're just across the interstate from us here at the studios, but they have bought new ground out in Mapleton. Makes them a lot easier to access with large equipment, easier to dispatch their service dealers to get on out to you when you need them the most. And even, well, let's face it, if you need to take that tractor for a test drive after you've worked on it, it's not exactly easy to do it with the Fleet Farm traffic. Now they're going to have a better way to do that. So congratulations to Butler Equipment for that expansion out to Mapleton.
All right, and we are under a slight risk for severe weather this evening. More than likely, there will be a watch issued, a severe thunderstorm watch over the eastern part of the valley, or eastern part of the state here, down into South Dakota. The highest risk for severe hail is going to be along and south of the 94 corridor. So that Fargo down to Wahpeton, Sisseton, into areas of northeastern parts of South Dakota. We could have hail 1 to 2 inch in diameter from this, so that's some pretty decent size hail. And the timing on this looks to be between about 7 and 10 o'clock here in the FM area, a little earlier out to the west. And obviously, as those storms move east, they're going to become a little more of a wind threat damaging wind threat as they head into lakes country. So make sure to be weather aware anytime after 6 o'clock tonight if you have outdoor plans. I know Rib Fest is going on. Spin Doctors are out there tonight. It's going to be touch and go. It's going to be right around the time those storms come in, anywhere between about 7 and 8, it looks like, here in the FM area. There is a very slight chance of an isolated tornado. That main threat is going to be south of the FM area, Wahpeton down towards the Sisseton area. So, again, be weather aware. It's could be our first bigger outbreak of severe weather in regards to hail so far this season. So for Bridgette, myself, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, it's coming up next.